Draper responds to Alcaraz, "I suppose if you want to be great, you have to make sacrifices." The British tennis player countered the opinion of the Spanish player, who recently stated that he believed it was compatible to enjoy life and be the best in tennis. The Confessions of Carlos Alcaraz in the documentary recently released about his life, in which the Mercian player claims he sees it as compatible to enjoy life and be the best, have sparked a wave of reactions in the tennis world regarding the Spaniard's opinion. One of the first to speak out about Alcaraz's words was fellow Spaniard Roberto Bautista, who, in the mixed zone after his loss to Zverev, wanted to offer this advice to the Mercian, warning of the difficulty of balancing tennis and enjoying life. "I believe top-level tennis demands a lot, right? I don't think Carlos is going to win Grand Slams going to bed at 7 in the morning, right? In the end, I think tennis is very demanding. Right now everything looks very nice, he's very young, but he needs to realize that if he wants to match the numbers of the three greats, he has to play 15 years at a high level. And well, I consider him an intelligent player and person." A similar opinion was shared by Brit Jack Draper, who after his win over Tommy Paul, weighed in on the debate sparked by Alcaraz, affirming that being at a high level requires sacrifices, and therefore sees both things as incompatible. "There's no denying that in any professional sport, but especially in tennis, there are fixed things: we play, we compete, we're far from our families. We sacrifice our lives. If you play this sport properly and give everything every day, tennis is very hard. Every day I ask myself, can I keep going? And I do. I suppose if you want to be great, these are the things you have to do. There are people out there who have harder jobs, you know? I say that if we put things in perspective. I play a sport I love, travel with amazing people, and earn a good amount of money. It's a big mental and physical challenge, but in a way, I enjoy it. I don't know how long I'll play or whether I'll make it to 35, I'll just try to get the most out of my career and try to reach my full potential. And I know I have to give it my all to do that." What does Jannik Sinner really envy about Carlos Alcaraz? In a revealing interview for Italian public television, the current world number one has broken his silence after serving a 3-month doping suspension. With his return to the circuit around the corner and the Rome Masters 1000 as the setting for his comeback, Sinner reflected on his game, his emotions, and made an unexpected confession about what he most admires about the young Mercian player. Could this rivalry define the future of tennis? Join us and find out the answer. Jannik Sinner is back. After his forced 3-month break, the Australian Open champion reappeared before the media with disarming sincerity. In an exclusive interview for RAI, he reviewed not only his physical condition, but also his mental and technical evolution as a player. "Playing tennis is like playing poker," explained the Italian, making it clear that psychology is as important as talent on court. In his opinion, detecting the opponent's nerves or doubts can completely change the course of a match. And it's precisely in that emotional terrain where he has learned the most during his absence. Far from portraying the cold and unshakable player many believe him to be, Sinner confessed that he also struggles with insecurity. "There are moments when I don't feel the game, I get nervous because I want to prove I'm capable," he admitted. With these words, he breaks the unbreakable image many attribute to him. The pressure to perform at the highest level, the constant need to prove himself, and the inevitable mistakes are all part of his maturation process. "Smashing the ball or breaking the racket doesn't help," he added, aware that mental control is essential on the path to greatness. Sinner also spoke about his tennis. "His backhand is his winning card, his most reliable shot, and he made that clear. Probably the backhand is the strongest," he stated without hesitation. However, the Italian surprised everyone by confessing what he truly envies about Carlos Alcaraz. It's not his forehand, nor his serve, not even his titles. It's something more intangible but tremendously valuable: his ability to improvise, enjoy, and flow amid chaos. "Carlos has a way of playing that seems like he's on the playground, having fun," he said. That naturalness, that joy amid pressure, is what Sinner would like to incorporate into his own game. This confession adds a new dimension to their rivalry. While Sinner has built his tennis on discipline, repetition, and calculation, Alcaraz moves on instinct, on passion, on that unpredictable flair that wins over the public. For the Italian, incorporating that emotional component could make the difference in major tournaments. "I'd like to learn to play more freely, to enjoy important matches more," he confessed. And in an increasingly mental sport, that ability Alcaraz has to turn every match into a spectacle may be as decisive as a good cross-court backhand. Jannik Sinner has made it clear that his ambition remains intact, but he has also shown an uncommon humility among great champions. Admitting that he still has things to learn, and that one of his biggest rivals has qualities he desires, says a lot about his character. This rivalry between Sinner and Alcaraz is not just a matter of numbers, rankings, or titles, it's a clash of styles, of game philosophies, and of personal growth. If he can add a bit of Carlitos' swagger to his surgical precision, the tennis world could be facing an even more dangerous version of Sinner. Has a new rival for Carlos Alcaraz emerged during the Mercian's absence? While the Spaniard recovers from injury and remains out of the Mutua Madrid Open, Argentine Francisco Cerundolo has seized the opportunity to match his records and shine under the spotlight of world tennis. His incredible performance at the Caja Mágica has taken him to the semifinals, and many now consider him a growing threat to the circuit's biggest names. Are we looking at the next major star of Latin American tennis? Let's find out. Francisco Cerundolo has made a strong breakthrough into the final stretch of the 2025 Mutua Madrid Open. The 25-year-old Argentine overcame a tough match against young Czech Jakub Mensik with a hard-fought 3-6, 7-6-5, 6-2 win, thus matching Carlos Alcaraz and Alex de Minaur's 24 wins so far this season. This figure positions him as one of the most consistent and solid players on the circuit this year. His place in the semifinals of the Madrid Masters 1000, his second in such tournaments, confirms his progress and projects him towards his best ATP ranking yet, at least 18th place. But beyond the statistics, the Argentine has shown a maturity on court that until recently seemed distant. He managed to recover from a tough start against Mensik, an explosive and rising player, and stayed composed at key moments. His poise in the second set tiebreak was decisive, and his physical and mental display in the third showed that he is no longer just a promise. Cerundolo not only overcame his own ghosts, he had 5 consecutive quarterfinal losses at Masters 1000 tournaments, but did so with authority. This achievement in Madrid has special significance. The Argentine becomes the first player from his country to reach the semifinals of this tournament since Juan Martín del Potro in 2012, a true reference for South American tennis. Cerundolo seems ready to follow in the legendary Delpo's footsteps, breaking barriers and bringing Argentina back to the spotlight on the major tennis stages. His run at the Caja Mágica is already historic, but he wants more. His next challenge will be Casper Ruud, another claycourt specialist with whom he has unfinished business since the 2022 Miami semifinal. On that occasion, Cerundolo lost to the Norwegian in a match where his lack of experience in big events was still evident. Today, however, he arrives with 3 titles under his belt, Båstad 2022, Eastbourne 2023, and Umag 2024, and with much sharper competitive maturity. In addition, his aggressive yet patient style of play, combined with a newly discovered emotional strength, makes him one of the most dangerous dark horses in the draw. With solid baseline play, a consistent serve, and great mobility, Cerundolo is achieving what many expected of him from the beginning. Francisco Cerundolo's rise to the semifinals of the Mutua Madrid Open not only enriches the tournament but sends a clear message to the rest of the circuit: there's a new contender in the fight for major titles. Carlos Alcaraz's absence has opened a door that the Argentine has seized with intelligence and determination. Although both share similar win records this year, Cerundolo's competitive growth in recent weeks makes him a name to watch very closely during the European clay swing. Do you think Francisco Cerundolo can become Carlos Alcaraz's next big rival? Is Argentine tennis ready to have a leading player again in Masters 1000 and Grand Slam finals? Share your opinion in the comments, like the video if you enjoy seeing new rivalries on the circuit, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on the present and future of world tennis. Carlos Alcaraz takes a major step in his recovery. The Spanish tennis player returns to training and everything seems to indicate that he will finally be able to compete in the Rome Masters 1000. Carlos Alcaraz has caused the most notable absence at the Mutua Madrid Open, after confirming his withdrawal from the draw due to injury. The Mercian had played many matches consecutively, 10 in 12 days, which took a toll on his physical condition. The world number 3 managed to win the Monte Carlo Masters 1000 and nearly repeated at the Conde de Godó, but in the final, his body gave out. Although Alcaraz was able to finish the match, he didn't want to push it and ended up losing to Holger Rune. Despite not wanting to raise alarms, the injury turned out to be a bit more serious than initially thought. This was confirmed at the pre-tournament press conference for the Madrid Masters 1000, where he couldn't compete due to a tear in his abductor. But now, Alcaraz takes another step forward in his recovery. Carlos Alcaraz returns to training after injury. This Wednesday, April 30th, brought good news about Carlos Alcaraz. The world number 3 has returned to training after a week of recovery, during which he was seen attending other sporting events such as the Copa del Rey final and the MotoGP Grand Prix in Jerez. It was a much-needed rest after playing several tournaments in a row, a decision that drew criticism, and it allowed him to return to the court to start training. He did so in his native Murcia, at the Real Sociedad Club de Campo in El Palmar. Although he took to the court with bandages on his thighs as a precaution, his team is optimistic about his recovery, and everything indicates that Alcaraz will compete in the Rome Masters 1000, where he returns after 2 years and which will serve as a warm-up for Roland Garros. Rome, the long-awaited reunion between Alcaraz and Sinner. The Rome Masters 1000 will have special significance on the 2025 calendar, as it will be the tournament where Jannik Sinner returns to competition after serving his doping ban. Therefore, and especially after Djokovic's withdrawal, there's a lot of anticipation around seeing Carlos in this tournament so he can reunite with the Italian and continue their battle for world number 1.